It's 300. Your boots hit Iranian sand. Behind you, the Black Hawk is already gone. Ahead of you, a mountain that doesn't exist on any public map. 8 people. 1 mission. And if this goes wrong, the US government will deny you were ever here. Airstrikes hit everything they could reach. Weeks of bombardment. Hundreds of missiles. Iran still hasn't surrendered, so they stopped dropping bombs. And they sent you instead. 3 days ago, you were in Qatar. Not on a base. In a warehouse with no markings, no flag, no unit insignia on the wall. Just a table, a satellite image, and a colonel who talked like every word cost him something. The briefing lasted 11 minutes. Iran's nuclear program didn't stop when the bombs hit. The surface sites, Isfahan, Iraq, the enrichment facilities near Natanz, all damaged, some destroyed. But the intelligence community has been tracking a second layer for years. A facility they don't put in official briefings. A facility that doesn't appear on the maps shared with Congress. They call it Pickaxe Mountain. Buried inside a reinforced tunnel system deep enough that no bunker buster ever built can reach the bottom. Blast doors, underground corridors, IRGC security units that rotate every 6 hours. And somewhere inside, centrifuge cascades still spinning. The colonel didn't ask if you were ready. He told you the helicopters leave at 0200. He told you the electronic warfare aircraft would blind Iranian radar for a window of approximately 4 minutes. He told you that window doesn't extend. Then he closed the folder. You had 2 days to memorize everything. 2 days to say nothing to nobody. 2 days before your boots touched ground that no American soldier had touched since 1979. The clock didn't wait. The flight in was 43 minutes of absolute silence. No radio chatter, no mission recap. 8 operators sitting in the dark with their gear, watching the crew chief stare at a screen that showed nothing but empty airspace and a prayer. You crossed the border at 0217. Nobody marked it. Nobody announced it. 1 second, you were over international airspace. The next second, you were the deepest American penetration into Iranian territory since the failed hostage rescue in 1980. Operation Eagle Claw. 8 soldiers died that night before they even reached the target. Their helicopters went down in the desert and the mission died with them. You already knew that story. Everyone on this helicopter knew that story. The difference tonight is the electronic warfare package running on the aircraft 3 miles above you. It's suppressing Iranian radar across a corridor, roughly 12 kilometers wide. Inside that corridor, you don't exist. No signature, no transponder, no heat bloom visible to the air defense network that's been on full alert for 6 weeks straight. 4 minutes, the colonel said. You landed with 90 seconds to spare. Now you're on the ground, the rotor wash is fading, and the mountain is directly ahead. Closer than the satellite images made it look. The entrance is carved into the rock face like it grew there naturally. 2 guard positions visible. Probably 4 more you can't see. Your team moves without a word. Because the clock is already running, nobody told you this would be easy. But the intelligence brief left out some things that are immediately obvious. The second your team reaches the first corridor. The tunnels are wider than expected. That's not good news. Wide tunnels mean vehicle access. Vehicle access means resupply lines that have been running for months underground, moving equipment, moving personnel, moving things that never appeared in a single satellite image because they never had to come above ground at all. The IRGC didn't just bury this facility. They built a city inside a mountain. Your team splits at the first junction. 4 operators push left toward the centrifuge halls. You go right with the other 3, toward the security post, the colonel marked as the primary threat. 60 meters down, the corridor opens into a chamber the size of a basketball court. Blast doors on the far wall. 2 guards at a desk who haven't heard you yet. They hear you 3 seconds later. The next 4 minutes are the kind that don't make it into official reports. Close quarters, tight angles, the kind of fighting where training either holds or it doesn't. Your team holds. But the blast doors are already sealed. Someone triggered a lockdown protocol the moment the outer guard positions went quiet. Behind those doors are the centrifuge cascades. Behind those doors is the entire reason 8 people flew 43 minutes in total silence into the most heavily defended airspace in the Middle East. And right now, those doors aren't moving. You have a demolition charge that might work. You have a timeline that's already slipping. And somewhere above you, Iranian reinforcements are being scrambled toward a radar anomaly that someone somewhere just noticed. The demolition charge works, partially. The blast doors buckle but don't break. A 2-inch gap where the seal used to be. Enough to confirm what's on the other side. The sound of machinery. Active machinery. Centrifuges running at full speed, deep inside a mountain that the U.S. Air Force spent 6 weeks trying to destroy from the air. They never got close. Here's what the public briefings never explained about Pickaxe Mountain. The bunker buster bombs the U.S. dropped near Natanz. The GBU-57s, the most powerful conventional penetrating weapons ever built, can punch through roughly 60 meters of reinforced concrete. The facility behind these doors sits at an estimated depth of 90 meters minimum, possibly more. The bombs shook the mountain. They cracked some of the upper tunnel infrastructure. They killed people in the outer corridors. They didn't touch the centrifuges. Not one. Which means Iran's enrichment capability didn't just survive 6 weeks of the most intensive air campaign since Iraq. It survived completely intact. And the 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium that intelligence agencies have been tracking across multiple sites, the material already processed before the first strike hit. None of that is accounted for either. Some of it is under rubble nobody has physically reached. Some of it moved before the bombs fell. Your job tonight was never just to destroy what's behind these doors. Your job was to find out how much is left and where it went. The charge blew the gap wide enough now. Your team pushes through into a corridor that smells like machine oil and recycled air, and something else underneath that you don't want to think about too hard. The cascades are running. The material is gone. And your extraction window closed 4 minutes ago. You're not getting out the way you came in. The extraction helicopter that was supposed to hit the LZ at 0340 is gone. Diverted. 3 Iranian helicopters are now sweeping the valley between you and the border, and the electronic warfare window that got you in closed 17 minutes ago. Your team is 8 kilometers inside Iranian territory, inside a mountain, with a radio that's been on radio silence since boots hit ground. This is the moment the colonel didn't brief, the moment where the mission worked and still went wrong. Because here's what nobody says out loud when they plan operations like this. The risk was never just getting in. Getting in is the part special operations units train for every single day. The risk was always what happens when the intelligence is right about the target and wrong about everything surrounding it. Iran knew a ground operation was coming. Not the specifics, not the location. But they've been watching U.S. force movements for 6 weeks. They repositioned their rapid response units accordingly. They tightened the security rotations. They sealed the blast doors on a hair trigger. They were ready for someone like you. And now, 8 Americans are inside a mountain with no exit, no extraction, and a government that will spend the next 72 hours deciding whether to send in the conventional force everyone was trying to avoid. The special operation just became something much bigger. 8 soldiers, 1 mountain, 0 extraction. This is how wars expand. Not with a declaration, not with a press conference, with 8 people in a tunnel who needed 3 more minutes and didn't get them. With a government back home that now has 2 choices. Leave them there, or send in the force that turns a special operation into a ground war. Iran has 90 million people, and some of the most defensible terrain on Earth. And somewhere inside a mountain, the centrifuges are still running. That's not a victory. That's a beginning. What happens next? That's not a military question anymore. That's a political one. Drop your answer in the comments. Subscribe if you want to understand the wars that don't make the front page.